What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another simple Sabermetrics video. Recently, I had the privilege of being a guest on the Finding the Edge podcast. It was a blast. If you're interested in hearing more about the inspiration for this channel, some of my various player development practices, or how I structure our student manager staff at Penn State, go and give it a listen. I'll leave a link down in the description below. But speaking of our awesome student manager staff here, let's jump into a highly requested topic from the last video that we couldn't accomplish without our student managers: opponent scouting reports. Before we jump into it, welcome back to another video, guys. If you're new here and you're a coach, player, or trainer interested in learning more about the practical applications of data-driven baseball, you've come to the right place. Join the movement now by clicking the subscribe button down below for more weekly baseball animations. Most of what we've covered here on this channel has been work that is done in the fall for college baseball teams. We have a whole offseason to focus internally on our player development processes. This time is spent getting our guys to their peak levels of absolutely everything: their top shape, their best stuff, and a good idea of who they are as a player, meaning understanding their strengths and weaknesses. However, as the seasons transition from the fall to the spring, we have a completely different focus, and that is one that is external, on winning. Everything we do as a team is geared towards two things: getting runs and getting outs. Our player development focuses are backed up with data on how to effectively produce our desired results. So what does that mean? As we get into the season, we switch into maintenance mode for player development. Obviously, our team will still be constantly keeping tabs on previous outings, but a lot of our focus switches from mechanics and pitch design to how each athlete's skill set will best help us win. At this point, we've checked all our boxes in player development work, and we're going to find a way to help translate that into wins by properly preparing for each opponent. This helps, as data always does, eliminate the guesswork from our guys when they step into the box or up onto the mound. Let's take this a step further. So what does my ideal scouting report entail? To me, it's best to focus on the controllables, things hitters and pitchers do, not as much as the results that they are seeing on the stat sheet. Yes, some of that information may be important for framing the guys who are seeing the most success, but it doesn't give you an edge on what their strengths and weaknesses are. For hitters, there are a ton of things on our in-depth scouting reports, but some of the most important things I look for are a hitter's swing tendencies. Do they swing at the first pitch? Do they swing at the first pitch in the zone? How often do they swing with 2 strikes or in a full count? Knowing when an athlete swings the most allows you to play your best swing and miss stuff when he's likely to act upon it. This really aids in the pitch calling aspect of the game. Next is going to be how each hitter fares versus lefties and righties. Does he struggle against one significantly more than the other? What types of pitches does he struggle with from each side? These are 2 short bullet points, but 2 things that are incredibly important when analyzing upcoming opponents. The second piece helps with personnel decisions. If you see trends up and down the lineup, you may be more willing to go with one guy over another, or it helps organize how you might utilize your bullpen in that series. Now let's take a look at the pitcher's scouting reports. To me, this really comes down to 2 major items as well. What percentage of the time do they use their pitches against lefties and righties in certain counts or with runners in scoring position? And where do they throw each of those pitches? Does it change from lefty to righty? Most often, guys have plans and tendencies that can be exposed as you begin to look into each athlete's stuff. Both of these simple things give our hitters a better plan of attack when they step up to the plate against any opposing pitcher. And like I said in the beginning, these aspects are things the opposing player controls. And they're not rocket science either. If you don't have the resources to invest in a software that helps gather all of this information, you can take notes by keeping book or by watching film or even just going to a game. It's all stuff you can see with your eyes. So what does this process look like in action for me? So this is what my ideal process looks like. It starts with me indicating what factors are important and organizing them into a template that we will use that year for our scouting reports for hitters and for pitchers. I then send those templates off to our student managers, who do an amazing job entering in all of this information. To gather this information, we use any opponent's TrackMan data that we can get our hands on, as well as a scouting software called Synergy that gives us a ton of sortable data from almost every game that an opposing team has played. If you're interested in hearing more about the utilization of these softwares, let me know down in the comments. Next, our student managers input all of these data points and images onto our template. My personal template includes a one-pager of the entire team that gives the coaching staff a shortened summary of the entire team's pitchers or hitters, and then a more detailed individual report that receive their own page that are more of an in-depth dive on each player. Then, once that process of collecting and inputting data into the templates is complete, it is returned to the coaching staff to be used as an aid as they watch video, take notes, and have conversations about the upcoming opponent. Once we finish up that step, we summarize all of the information we need and find the best way to get it to our players. And that's it. That's a short and sweet version of this process. And I only wish that it took this long to complete. But a real good, in-depth scouting reports with all of the information that we have takes time. And that's something that we physically would not be able to do without our student managers. They play a major role in this process and is something that they do that I honestly believe has a direct impact on the performance our guys have on the field. A lot of this information that we gather simply would not be available to us without all of their hard work. So why does this matter? If we are able to pair our strengths and put them up against opposing teams' weaknesses, we're able to expose their flaws that ups our chances of leaving the field each day victorious. Not to mention the psychological side effects that our guys gain from knowing that us as a coaching staff did our homework and the information we are providing them gives them a higher chance of success. Now this process is near and dear to me, as it has been one of my largest responsibilities at every stop I've made along the way in my baseball career. When I started out, I was the one cutting the film on opposing teams and sorting through massive amounts of data to try and find a way to help our team win. It is a truly time-intensive project for everyone involved if you want to do this thing right, but I do believe it pays off in the end. My favorite memory of this comes from the year I worked at Iowa and we won the Big Ten tournament. In the semifinal elimination game, we were tied going into the top of the 13th inning against Minnesota. They had a pitcher on the mound that we had some information on, a guy who liked to throw breaking balls to get ahead in the count. Tyler Cropley is up to bat, and he is sitting curveball and looking to see one up. He does, and he hits it over the left field wall to score the winning run. In his post-game interview, he mentions that he knew a curveball was coming, he was looking to see it up, and he didn't miss it. Now, Cropley was an incredible catcher who went on to get drafted, and he saw a lot of success that year at the plate. Could he have hit that pitch out without any information on that guy? Probably. It was not a very good execution on the part of the pitcher. But as someone who spent hours inputting information alongside several other student managers and made a lot of those hours worth it because we saw at least one data point affect an outcome of the game. If you're interested in watching that game recap as well as Cropley's post-game interview, I'll leave a link in the description down below. But that's what I've got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. If you liked today's video or you just want to support the channel, please leave a like down below. Leave a comment with any questions or suggestions for a future video, and subscribe for more weekly baseball animations posted every Wednesday.